Torah tells us in Parshas Emor about the different halachos related to the Yom Tovim. Torah introduces it. Daber Hashem and Moshe. Lemor Hashem speaks to Moshe saying, Daber al Bnei Yisrael. Speak to Bnei Yisrael. V'yomarta aleihem, and say to them, Moadei Hashem asher tikru osam mikroi kodesh elahim moadai. The Moadim that you referred to as mikroi kodesh, asher tikru osam, that you make them into mikroi kodesh, those are moadai. Those are my Yomim Tovim. And that really seems to speak to the essence of what a Yom Tov is about. See, the difference between Yom Tov and Shabbos is that Shabbos is what we refer to as Kvi'i V'Kaimi. Shabbos is already set. Every seventh day since the beginning of creation is automatically Shabbos, whether we are participating, whether we declare it Shabbos, or whether we are passive and it just becomes Shabbos. But the Yom Tovim are different. The Yom Tovim become the Yom Tovim because the Jewish people declare the new month, and with the declaration of the new month, the calendar follows, as do the Yom Tovim. That difference is reflected in the Tefillah. We say at the conclusion of the middle part of Shemona Esrei and Shabbos, Mekadesh HaShabbos, that Hashem is the one who sanctifies Shabbos. But when it comes to the holidays, we say Mekadesh Yisrael v'Hazmanim. We don't say that Hashem is Mekadesh the Zmanim, but as the Gemara and Chazal understood it, it's Mekadesh Yisrael. He instills us with Kedusha, and we instill the Zmanim, we instill those times with Kedusha. And that's why this pasuk serves as the perfect introduction to the Moadim. However, with that, the next pasuk is very troubling. For 6 days you should work. For 6 days you're going to work. On the seventh day, you're not going to be allowed to work. It is Shabbos in all of your places. Which means that we just had the introduction to the Yom Tovim, and the Torah has now introduced us to Shabbos. How can that be? Shabbos, we just said, is different, is completely different than Yom Tov. So why is it that the Torah would include Shabbos on the list of the Moadim? And many of the Mefarshim grapple with this. Rashi says that it's to teach us Ma inyan Shabbos eitzal modos. What do they have to do with each other? Whoever desecrates the Moed is as if he desecrated Shabbos, and vice versa. The Barbanel wonders, does this mean that it is a Moed if it's not a Moed? But perhaps we can suggest something else which seems to emerge from the Psukim. What the Torah is telling us seems to be irrespective of whether you consider Shabbos to be a Moed or not. What's important is Asher Tikru Osam Mikra'e Kodesh Elahim Moadai. Whatever the list is that is going to follow has to be moments at which we refer to them as Mikra'e Kodesh. And Shabbos is what follows. And by definition, what that means is that if it's not true when it comes to Shabbos, that we create Shabbos, then the Torah is somehow telling us that we have an obligation still to turn it into Mikra'e Kodesh, to turn it into a holy moment. And perhaps what that hints to is a concept that the Ramban teaches us earlier in Sefer Shemos. What the Ramban explains to us is that Shabbos is not just about the don'ts. It's not just about what you are not allowed to do. If the Kedusha of Shabbos came and it's Kvi V'Kaime, it exists the way that it exists, and therefore our entire experience of Shabbos is don't do X, don't do Y, don't do any of the malachos on Shabbos. But Shabbos is supposed to be a positive experience as well. And perhaps that's what the Torah is alluding to here. The Torah is reminding us that if you really want Shabbos to be what Shabbos is supposed to be, Asher Tikru Osam Mikra Kodesh, you have to turn it into Mikra Kodesh. Not that the Kedusha doesn't exist without you saying something, but that our experience of Shabbos is going to be lacking if we don't turn Shabbos into a moed, if we don't buy into it, if we don't turn it into a day in which we infuse it with Kedusha, which we infuse it with meaning, then it's not a full experience of Shabbos. Maybe that's what the Psukim are hinting to here, and it is such a critical topic. It is such a critical component to what Shabbos is about. Shabbos, if it's just about the don'ts, is not going to be the day that is going to inspire us. It's not going to be a day in which the bracha, as we talk about al-Chadodi, flows It's the Makor HaBracha for the rest of the week. It's only if we engage Shabbos, if we are spiritually charged. But whatever it is that we do on Shabbos, our learning is different, our speech is different, the way we talk to family is different, the way we daven is different. If all of those things are different, then we are Tikru Osam Mikra Kodesh. We are calling it Mikra Kodesh, and that is going to create a different form of Shabbos. And perhaps that's what the Torah is hinting to by putting it on the list over here. To create them, you're not going to be able to create exactly like the Moedim, but it is like the Moedim that if we sit passively and we don't participate, we don't declare it a Mikra Kodesh, then even our Shabbos can be lacking. Hopefully our experience of Shabbos, learning in Shabbos, going over what we're said right now in Shabbos, going and engaging what Shabbos is supposed to be about, should be an elevating experience for each and every one of us.